This is where I would want to talk about inflammation, a very important topic which people do not discuss because people are not aware of it. What is inflammation? Inflammation, in simple terms, means there is a fire, right? But I'm going to explain you from the body point of view. See, suppose if you're traveling and this is your hand and the hand bumps somewhere very hard, what will happen? It will start swelling up. It swells up. Why do you think that happens? Because the moment the impact was too hard for the body has already sent the signal that this might get hurt. So it tries to swell it up. The moment tries to swell it up, while it's doing so, it is trying to protect from more damage, like it's trying to restrict more damage. For example, the bone should not break, because if the bone breaks, it will take more time to heal, right? So it swells up and becomes a cushion like thing. Now, when this thing happens, if there is a swelling type thing, first thing is that there will be pain, right? Why does it happen? Because that pain is there to restrict the movement of that arm, okay? And then you should be taking rest. But when and that swollen thing which is happening is because of inflammation, right? Now, same thing happens inside of your body. From your gut, there is something known as mucosal layer, okay? And to understand mucosal layer, I will take you to the visualization board a bit later on, but let me just complete this slide first. In fruits, you can have all seasonal and organic fruit can be consumed, which means go for the fruits which are not processed, where they're not adding powders. Try to understand if this fruit is of this season. If it's of this season, have it. But if it's not of this season and you're trying to consume, it has been preserved by chemicals. Same thing is with vegetables. Choose organic vegetables and go for the foods which are low in anti-nutrients. Guys, to remove anti-nutrients from your food, the best way is that if you're cooking rajma chola, I have not mentioned that, but people will be like having it from time to time. So don't cook rajma chola by just soaking in water for like soaking it into the water for like 1 hour, and that pressurizing it. And that anti-nutrients are not going, it's going to damage your gut. The best way is that you clean it and you let it, in that wrapped towel for 12 hours. The process of germination. When that happens, the anti-nutrients get removed. Okay. Same way, do not go for high pressure cooking, that damages the food. And as I repeated again and again, these are all the information, all the combinations which you write down, and later on we will understand how to implement them. Right now, we are just understanding what are the combinations. So go for all seasonal fruits and for vegetables. And in vegetables, when you're going for green leafy vegetables or any vegetables, first thing is that you need to wash. But for green leafy vegetables, you need to soak the vegetables and keep it. The raw vegetable, you need to soak it in the water for some time, keep it over there for half an hour, and then drain the water. In this process, what will happen? You are trying to remove as much as anti-nutrients. What are anti-nutrients? It is something which is anti to the nutrients, like you're having food which is giving you nutrition. If something which is working against it is anti-nutrients. As of now, this much information is more than enough. You need not go into depth of what is anti-nutrient, right? And now, as I promised, I will talk about the part of inflammation in our visualization board, and let us understand what is that. So, for example, let us draw a diagram of our stomach. Guys, I'm not a very good artist. Okay. Now, let us understand how inflammation affects us. This layer which you see in the stomach, okay, on a bird eye view or in a zoom view, if you look at it in a naked eye, it is something which is having a continuous layer, like our skin. Skin is a continuous, right? But in reality, if you go on a microscopic level, if you look at this wall, okay, this wall, if I take it over here, our stomach is something like this, Lego bricks, okay, which means even if you place two Lego bricks very close to each other, there is some gap between the Lego bricks, right? So how is this gap filled? There is something known as mucosal layer. Mucus, basically mucosal layer, which is trying to fill these gaps with those mucus. Now, when this happens, now your stomach is protected. The mucosal layer is covered by here. Let us draw another line to understand mucosal layer. Now, this mucosal layer is protecting. Okay. Now, when you are having food which is high inflammatory, that these mucosal layers are getting depleted. The acids which are releasing is not able to digest the food. In fact, when this mucosal layer gets depleted, just try to understand that these gaps which were there is now not having any mucosal layer to protect. So food is getting inserted from this gut and getting mixed in your bloodstreams. And because of that, it is going to the body parts which it should not go. And that's why you're feeling unhealthy. And this phenomenon is known as leaky gut. When we are in the hospital, the doctor gives us saline or something like that, which our body is able to absorb in the blood vessels, right? But why doesn't the doctor just give us fruit juices, विटामिन सी के लिए नींबू मौसमी चढ़ा दो? Because वो अगर आप जबान से लोगे, if you have it from your mouth, it is beneficial for your body. So that you can take from mouth. But when you why don't you give it on blood vessel? Because it's poisonous to give it in your blood vessel, right? Same way, the food which you are having should be going in the stomach. From stomach, it should be going into the intestines, and from here itself, the mucosal layer is there to all the way to your intestine. Now, if the food which you are having is creating inflammation, this mucosal layer gets depleted. The foods are going from here, it's getting mixed, and this is known as leaky gut. And that's why you must have noticed that sometimes you have GERD, you have that throat burning sensation, or else you're having tonsil stones. If you're not aware of tonsil stones, you may not check it in the Google, but it is something like the food particles or something that's getting deposited in your tonsils slowly because of the burps you take, the acidic burps you take, and it forms a stone over there where it becomes a big lump and you feel it. Of course, if it's a small stones, you can remove it with some expertise if you have, but then it is not recommended for. But having tonsil stones is not good for your body. So we understood the portion of leaky gut, right? So what inflammation does? Inflammation may when it's going, your body from inside, as I said, is not able to understand this as a food, and it's trying to exert too much of power, too much of acids, and in the process, what is happening? It's burning up the mucosal layer, and because of that, now the skin is in contact with the acid, and there's erosion happening. Unprocessed foods are sorry, the digestive power of the gut is weakened. Now the foods which are actually food which you are having is not being digested and the problem starts. Now this is a repetitive cycle. So to not have this inflammation, as I said, stop having sugar. Sugar ferments in your body, also highly inflammatory. Okay. Same thing is with wheat, gluten. It is highly inflammatory. But once you have garlic, it is low in inflammation. But that does not mean that you start having garlic and you start having roti. Do not go with that concept. Your body does not work in that way. That दो काम body के लिए अच्छा कर रहा है, एक काम घातक कर रहा है. Whatever you are doing, be aware, be conscious of it, but do not bring up wrong notions in your mind that this is going to work.